In October 2025, the Department of Justice under President Trump indicted three of his most vocal critics, John Bolton, James Comey, and Letitia James. The timing followed Trump's public calls for their prosecution, sparking debate over whether justice is being used to settle political scores. Each figure has a history of public clashes with Trump, making the indictments appear coordinated. While all three cases are politically charged, the indictment against John Bolton stands out for its unique legal and national security implications. As we examine the details, it's clear that Bolton's case is built on a different foundation, demanding closer scrutiny. John Bolton is a name that has become synonymous with hardline American foreign policy. Known for his signature mustache and uncompromising views, Bolton has been a fixture in Republican politics for decades, shaping U.S. strategy on the world stage. He served in multiple presidential administrations, earning a reputation as a staunch advocate for military intervention and a vocal critic of adversaries like Iran and North Korea. Most notably, Bolton served as President Trump's national security advisor from 2018 to 2019, where he played a key role in shaping foreign policy decisions at the highest level. His tenure was marked by internal clashes and bold stances, often pushing for a tougher approach than even the president was willing to take. However, the relationship between Bolton and Trump quickly deteriorated. After leaving the White House, Bolton became one of Trump's most outspoken critics, penning a controversial tell-all memoir that offered a behind-the-scenes look at the administration. The book's explosive claims infuriated Trump and sparked a public feud, thrusting Bolton further into the national spotlight. Now, Bolton finds himself at the center of a legal firestorm. He faces an 18-count federal indictment, accused of unlawfully retaining and transmitting national defense information. The charges are serious, carrying the potential for significant prison time if he's convicted. According to prosecutors, Bolton allegedly shared more than 1,000 pages of classified material, including highly sensitive top-secret SCI documents, with family members who did not have security clearances. They claim he used unsecured email accounts and messaging apps, putting national secrets at risk. The situation escalated further after Bolton left office, when his personal AOL email account was reportedly hacked by a cyber actor linked to Iran. This breach raised urgent concerns about the exposure of classified information to foreign adversaries, intensifying the scrutiny on Bolton's actions. While Bolton did report the hack to authorities, investigators allege that he failed to fully disclose the extent of the potential compromise, especially regarding the classified data that may have been accessed or leaked. Bolton's legal team has pushed back hard, insisting that the charges are politically motivated and that the documents in question were merely personal diaries, not official classified records. They argue that Bolton is being targeted for his outspoken criticism of the Trump administration and his controversial political views. As the case heads to court, the nation watches closely. The outcome could have far-reaching implications, not just for John Bolton, but for the balance between national security, freedom of speech, and the politics of retribution in America. Bolton's indictment is rooted in the Espionage Act, a century-old law designed to protect the United States from threats posed by the unauthorized handling of national defense information. The charges against him are sweeping and serious, reflecting the government's determination to send a strong message about the sanctity of classified material. Specifically, Bolton faces 10 counts for the unlawful retention of highly sensitive documents, papers he was allegedly supposed to return or destroy after leaving office, but instead kept in his personal possession. In addition to those, there are 8 separate counts for the unauthorized transmission of national defense information, which means he's accused not just of keeping these documents, but of actively sharing them with others who lacked the proper clearance. According to the indictment, Bolton stored classified documents in unsecured locations, both at his home and in his private office. Some of these files reportedly contained information about weapons of mass destruction, making the alleged breaches even more alarming from a national security perspective. The most damning accusation is that he sent more than 1,000 pages of top-secret SCI information, some of the government's most closely guarded secrets, to family members using insecure email and messaging platforms. These channels are easily intercepted, raising the risk that adversaries could have gained access to critical intelligence. The leaked information is said to include details about ongoing military operations, intelligence sources, and methods, data that, if exposed, could endanger lives and compromise missions around the world. Each count Bolton faces carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in federal prison. With 18 counts in total, the stakes are extraordinarily high, and the cumulative potential sentence underscores just how seriously the government views these alleged violations. Prosecutors maintain that this case is not about a simple mistake or oversight. Instead, they argue it represents a deliberate and willful violation of laws designed to protect the nation's most sensitive secrets, and that such actions cannot be tolerated without severe consequences. The indictment paints a picture of a former high-ranking official who, despite his experience and knowledge of security protocols, chose to disregard his legal and ethical obligations, thereby putting national security at significant risk. If convicted on all counts, Bolton could face a theoretical maximum sentence of 180 years in prison, a stark reminder of the gravity of mishandling classified information at the highest levels of government. Comparing Bolton's case to those of Comey and James highlights key differences. Comey faces charges of making false statements and obstruction, process crimes tied to his Senate testimony. Letitia James is charged with bank fraud over a minor loan application discrepancy. Both cases, while serious, lack direct national security implications. In contrast, Bolton is accused of mishandling and distributing the nation's most sensitive secrets, including military and intelligence information. Legal experts view Bolton's case as far more consequential, given the potential for grave harm. While the other indictments may be seen as politically motivated, Bolton's charges strike at the core duty of protecting classified information. The possibility that Iran accessed this data elevates the case to a national security crisis. Unlike the other high-profile cases that have dominated headlines in recent years, the investigation into John Bolton did not originate during the Trump administration. Instead, it began under President Biden, marking a significant departure from the pattern seen in other politically charged probes. This fact alone sets the Bolton case apart, as it was not the result of a lingering Trump-era initiative or a last-minute push by outgoing officials. Rather, it was initiated by a new administration, one that had no direct political stake in the original controversy. The investigation was led by career prosecutors and the U.S. Attorney for Maryland, both of whom are recognized for their bipartisan credentials and long-standing reputations for fairness. These are not political appointees with an agenda, but seasoned legal professionals who have served under both Democratic and Republican administrations. Their involvement adds a layer of credibility and impartiality to the proceedings, making it clear that the case was not simply a tool for political retribution. When you look at the timeline, it becomes clear why claims of a purely political witch hunt are harder to sustain. The investigation's origins under Biden, rather than Trump, complicate any narrative that this was just another partisan attack. The facts suggest a more nuanced reality, one where the legal process was allowed to unfold without overt interference from the White House. By contrast, the cases against figures like James Comey and others were brought forward by a Trump-appointed prosecutor, often after significant resistance from within the Department of Justice itself. This resistance highlighted concerns about political motivations and the appropriateness of those prosecutions. In Bolton's case, the investigation was actually inherited by the Trump DOJ, not initiated by it. This means that the underlying evidence and concerns were already present before any potential political pressure could be applied. The fact that the case continued into the Biden administration suggests that prosecutors found the evidence compelling enough to pursue, regardless of which party was in power. This important distinction lends significant credibility to the prosecution and separates Bolton's case from the more overtly political indictments that have drawn criticism in the past. It demonstrates that the legal process can, at times, operate independently of the shifting winds of Washington politics. The unique origin story of the Bolton investigation makes it much harder for critics to dismiss the charges as mere political retribution or a partisan vendetta. Instead, it points to a process driven by facts and legal standards. Ultimately, this forces both the public and legal observers to take the case more seriously and to focus on the actual merits of the evidence and arguments presented, rather than simply viewing it through a partisan lens. Bolton's legal troubles have a history. In 2020, a federal judge warned that Bolton's decision to publish his memoir without full pre-publication review risked national security and exposed him to criminal liability. Judge Lamberth, a Reagan appointee, criticized Bolton for sidestepping clearance procedures and jeopardizing classified information. This judicial rebuke predates the current indictment, showing long-standing concerns about Bolton's conduct. The prior warning undermines claims that the charges are purely political. It provides the government with evidence that Bolton was aware of the risks and legal consequences. The pattern of behavior, ignoring rules for handling secrets, strengthens the prosecution's case. The current indictment appears less like a political surprise and more like an inevitable legal reckoning. Bolton's indictment stands out for its direct threat to national security. The charges involve alleged exposure of military plans and intelligence to foreign adversaries, with Iran's hack amplifying the danger. Unlike other cases, this isn't about technicalities, it's about the real risk to American lives and operations. The combination of reckless storage, unauthorized sharing, and a foreign hack makes the potential damage exceptionally high. While the timing is political, the substance transcends partisanship. Protecting national defense information is a universal responsibility. The outcome of Bolton's trial is a matter of urgent national importance. The broader context can't be ignored. Trump's DOJ has a pattern of targeting critics. Public calls for prosecution, stripping security clearances, and canceling Bolton's security detail all point to a campaign against dissenters. The involvement of loyalists like FBI Director Kash Patel, who labeled Bolton and Comey as deep state enemies, fuels suspicion of political targeting. Yet, Bolton's case is distinguished by its origins, career prosecutors, and the gravity of the allegations. It's possible for a prosecution to be both politically motivated and legally justified. The challenge is ensuring justice is based on evidence, not politics. The indictments of Bolton, Comey, and James put America's justice system under a harsh spotlight. The timing and targets suggest political weaponization, eroding public trust. Yet Bolton's case is fundamentally different, rooted in national security, investigated by nonpartisan officials, and foreshadowed by judicial warnings. The duality is stark. Political influence exists, but so does legitimate prosecution. The Bolton indictment is a test of whether facts can prevail over politics. The outcome will reveal much about the resilience of American democracy and the principle of equal justice. For citizens, the task is to look past rhetoric and demand accountability based on evidence.